destroyed. Enemy mobile suit approaching the base.
Hello and welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we're taking a look at the HGUC Gym Sniper 2 from War in the Pocket. Alright, and starting off as always with the articulation. You count the moving visor as articulation. Either way it can go down. Head is on the usual polycap barbell, so you get wiggle wiggle, front and back, and not a full rotation. The chin and the back of the head come down a bit far. You can't really get a full rotation unless you force it past there, but it is technically possible. Just not the most comfortable thing to get it past the little collar. Shoulders are on a forward-facing polycap as usual, and ball joint there. Hinge out to the side for over 90 degrees if you include the ball joint in that. Rotation at the bicep. Single jointed elbow, but it gets just above 90, and as always, hands are on a ball joint. The waist is kind of weird because this piece is technically attached to the hips. I mean, it can rotate, but it's not on a swivel. The ball joint is actually up here in the chest, meaning there's actually a bit of waist movement here separate from the lower piece. It moves on the axis between the light and dark blue here. A little bit of ab crunch back and forth. If you pull up the ball joint, you can get more side to side. And the peg the ball joint's on is long enough that you can actually get away with that without it falling in half, which is nice. Front skirts are ball jointed and they are connected on the runner, but obviously I separated them. Side skirts are on the usual polycap, lets them hinge out to the side and rotate a little bit front to back, though honestly they're so small anyway that doesn't actually really add anything. Back skirt's solid as usual. There is the thing they were doing at this time with the front to back rotation, though honestly you don't actually get much out of it just because of how tight the hips are into the body anyway. You don't honestly get any real rotation out of that. It doesn't really matter because even without that it can fully kneel for sniping poses, but you do get a universal joint in the hip. Pretty much nothing to the back because of the solid skirt. Pretty high kick, pretty good out to the side. As you can see, there's also a thigh swivel, though given the shaping on the thigh, it kind of bumps against the inside there a little bit. Double jointed knee for a really nice bend there. And the usual kind of gym ankle hinge, front to back, ball joint, and then a second flip-flop hinge in the foot. Also the armor guard is on a separate hinge from the ankle. Decent front and back, though as usual with these gyms, not a lot to the side. So the articulation for the Sniper 2 is good, but average for the time. Alright, getting into accessories, let's start off as always with the sticker sheet and by extension, color correction. I haven't used any of these and I don't really plan to. These ones are color correction, all the rest of these are, if it would focus, thank you, are little emblems. Don't know what that stands for. EFSF, really tiny ones here. Another EFF, these ones go on the shoulder, a couple more of those little ones. And this one is for the little mobile worker, but I left it off because it doesn't really matter, honestly. I think it looks better without it. But getting into color correction on the actual kit, the parts that are included are the blue stripes on the side of the head here, the gray here, and the camera bit up here, though it is a flat green, as well as the head camera and the camera for the small rifle. Kind of weird they didn't include one for the scope. We'll get into that. However, you have to paint black on the inside of this, and also that bar needs to be painted. I did silver and then a translucent green over it. Looks pretty good. I also did silver behind the sort of main camera up on the forehead piece. And same thing with this camera. Silver in behind the visor. But that's, you know, the usual thing to give that little bit of extra pop. The black inside the vents up on the cheeks. Blue here, like I said. Black in these vents. The red and black on the shoulder vents, which was actually very easy to do. Black on the inside of these, which is a very small detail, but apparently necessary. The red and black on the inside of these side vents, as well as the red, black, and white trim on the inside of these ones, as well as the ones down here on the legs. Black on the inside of these. Black on the inside of the vents. And the black, red, and gray on the bottom of the feet. Honestly, sounds like a lot, but it was not that bad. However, you do have to paint the accessories, so might as well get into those. Starting off with the hands, you get holding hands. These are really pretty much only meant to hold these beam sabers, which are stored on the back skirt. You do get 2 beam effects, I mean, obviously, but they are the old mold, which are shorter and kind of stubby. They don't look horrible or anything, but I would have preferred new ones, especially in 2012. I'm pretty sure that's after they made the new mold. But you also get a splayed hand for the left side, which is always nice, as well as 2 trigger finger hands, because, well, it has 2 different weapons and they need to be held slightly differently. Starting with the usual SMG that the sort of 90s gyms come with. You do have, well, it does come with a sticker for this, but if you want it to be nice and shiny like this, you have to paint it. It is fully color separated, obviously it's just gray. The other is, of course, the titular sniper, which has a second trigger finger hand with a bent wrist, so it can actually hold it straight on. The green on this needs to be painted, which is, you're gonna want some liquid mask for this, because it was not the easiest thing in the world to do. Actually, there's still a little tiny bit of liquid mask stuck in the... whatever. And yeah, you do have to paint the scope. Again, silver with translucent green on top of it here. Looks pretty good. The sort of rounded edge of it kind of made it look a little funky, but it works. And of course, to go with the SMG, you do get the shield, which needs all the gray painted on it. Aside from this piece is gray plastic, but yeah, all that gray needs to be painted. And again, it wasn't actually that bad. It was pretty simple painting, it's nothing too serious. That is, of course, aside from one thing, the mobile worker I mentioned when I was talking about the stickers. This thing is tiny, and it's entirely orange plastic. All the other color you see on this is paint. So that's fun. Also, this might as well be a statue. Technically, the shoulders are ball-jointed. You get a little bit of movement out of them. Legs are completely static. Waist is static. No other movement on this, so it is a nice little bonus, but it's nothing serious. However, I will point out that you do actually get some extra parts for the green loader type. Does mean you have to completely paint it instead of just doing color correction, but it's nice that they bothered to include these extra parts. And as for a quick size comparison, the Sniper 2 is completely average for a high grade, which isn't really surprising considering its silhouette is almost identical to the RX-78. So to wrap this review up, I really like the Sniper 2. I was waiting for a long time to be able to get my hands on this because it kept selling out whenever I went to get one, and honestly it was worth the wait. This is a really, really nice kit. Sure, the articulation could be a little bit better, but it can still pull off whatever pose you want it to. Color correction wasn't that bad, aside from the little mobile worker, but hey, that's a bonus anyway, who cares. This is a really unique gym, and I like it a lot. If you can get your hands on one, I definitely recommend it. Anyway, that's all for this review. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, helps a lot. Subscribe and hit the bell for future reviews. Go follow me on Twitter for updates, and consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep making reviews just like this one. And as always, until next time, happy building.